I think the idea of traveling with less is something that a lot of people think about, but aren't always 100% sure on how to execute. And I, for one, am not a big fan of paying those extra baggage fees in order to check a bag. I also feel like it helps you get on and off the plane faster, get through boarding, maneuver through the airport, maneuver to your hotel. And if you kind of have everything in a perfect little place, wrapped up in a tight little tiny bow, it makes everything a little bit more streamlined and a whole heck of a lot easier. So here are 7 tips to help you travel with a little bit less in your luggage. So there is tons of tips out there, and there's more than 7, but I wanted to start this with just 7 of the most basic. I've been doing one bag travel now for about 7 years, and these to me are the 7 core tips that I've found to be the most helpful and most beneficial when it comes to packing and traveling with less. The first one seems a little obvious, but that is to bring clothing that all kind of works together. Bring clothing that you can make multiple outfits out of. If you're going on a 5-day trip and you're trying to bring a pair of pants and a shirt for every single day that you're on that trip, you're way over what you should. Whenever I travel, I bring about the same clothing every single time, and that is usually 1, maybe 2 pairs of pants that I'm actually packing, and then 3 shirts, usually a long sleeve if it's winter, and then a lighter weight jacket, and that is it, besides like socks and underwear, maybe 2 pairs of underwears and a couple pairs of socks. You don't really need more than that. A common thing that people do all the time is they'll bring a bright red shirt that goes with this specific pair of pants or this outfit that works together, but none of it works with anything else that they're bringing. One of the things you want to do is stick to basic colors, blacks and greens and blues. This is coming from someone that is red-green colorblind, so I bring a lot of blacks and grays and like darker blues. All of my pants will go with all of my shirts and vice versa. All of my shirts will go with all of my pants. So no matter what I pull out for the day, no matter what I'm wearing, I don't have to worry about the outfit matching. Now, of course, the exception to this is if you're going for a specific event that requires you to bring nicer clothing. Maybe you're traveling for a wedding or something that's a little bit fancier and you have to bring a nice dress shirt or a nice pair of dress pants or something. Well, there is still a way you can travel with less, and that is to accommodate the rest of your loadout based around that. If you know you have to reserve a spot for one very special outfit, maybe bring 1 less t-shirt and maybe bring 1 less pair of pants, because that brings me to point number 2. Point number 2 has 2 points. The first one is bring clothing that can survive being worn more than once. If you're just gonna bring basic generic cotton t-shirts that absorb stink and absorb sweat and you're gonna be doing things like that, that's not gonna be that great. You wanna invest in materials that are high quality, like antimicrobial or something that's like a nice cotton blend. I like wearing these shirts and hoodies from Not Me Only right now, and then I also wear a lot of Western Rise because Western Rise clothing has been one of my favorites. I've done multiple videos on them, and all of their t-shirts and pants and everything, I can wear them more than once. They don't absorb stink, and they don't, like, the sweat doesn't ruin them, what my activities don't ruin them, and you can wear them more than once. That brings me to point number 3, which is you are also going to be wearing something on this trip. Now, this tip is exclusively for airline travel, because one thing that I think people forget is that the day that you travel, that is technically an outfit you are bringing. So whenever I travel on an airplane, if I'm doing it during the time where it might be a little bit colder and you bring something, I typically wear my heaviest clothing on the plane, because it's a lot easier to take that jacket off and just sit on it or throw it in the overhead bin with your bag than it is to try to pack that heavy jacket into your suitcase and lose all of that room. The same thing with wearing an extra long sleeve. If I need to bring 2 long sleeves, I'm gonna wear one on the plane. It is better, in my opinion, and your mileage may vary, to be a little bit uncomfortable on that 2 to 5 hour plane ride than it is to have to pay $80 for a checked bag or lose room in your suitcase because instead of wearing a long sleeve, you decided to wear a lightweight t-shirt on the plane when those 2 things could have been switched out. And that is where kind of the shoe play comes in. If I'm not bringing easy slip-on sneakers, my go-to travel shoe is the Suavs, because if I wear a pair or if I'm wearing anything on my feet when I'm actually traveling, Suavs are compact and small enough that if I need to bring them, I could. So usually I'll pack my smallest pair of shoes and wear my biggest. For me, it'd be my Lims boots. A little bit harder to get on and off in terms of going through security, so you have to pay a little bit of a price in that manner, but I would rather have a little bit of a hiccup at security than only be able to bring 1 pair of shoes when you need 2. But if you can help it, try to only bring the pair of shoes that you wear, again, unless you're going somewhere that involves hiking or maybe something a little bit nicer. But for me, I can typically bring one of my pairs of Suavs and they will be good for any occasion, even if I'm doing some outdoor, like some mild walking or hiking or anything like that. And that brings us to point number 4, which is don't bring anything unless you're 100% certain that you're going to use that. A lot of times when I used to travel when I was a lot younger and first started doing solo travel, I would bring a ton of stuff because I'm like, oh, I might need that, I might need this, I might need this, I might need this. But a lot of those mights aren't things that I actually needed. So if you're gonna bring something like extra batteries, maybe an extra charger, maybe you're bringing your laptop and your tablet. Do you need your laptop and your tablet? Sometimes when I travel, depending on what I'm traveling for, I don't always bring my iPad or my laptop or both because maybe I can get away with just having one. It goes for everything in your bag. If it's not something that you're 100% sure you're gonna need it or you're gonna use it, then it's not worth bringing. Anything you cannot justify putting in your bag that has a specific purpose and a specific reason for being with you on that trip, then you don't need to bring it, which actually brings us to point number 5. And point number 5, I think, is one of the best things you can do whether you're trying to pack minimally or just pack normally, which is create a packing list that is specific for you and stick to it. And the reason I specify specific to you is because you can Google search packing list and it'll be a generic, if you're packing lightly, if you're packing normally, if you're packing for this, if you're packing for that. Those are lists made by an individual who's using their travel experience to create that list. You need to create your own list that's going to be specific for what you know and what you know you need to bring. What I did when I first created my packing list is I did a mock pack. I packed up all my clothes and put it in my one bag travel bag and packed everything up and was like, okay, now what doesn't fit? What does fit? Is this anything I need? Is this something I need? Is this something I want? And I created my packing list based off of that. And that's how I came up with, I know I need 3 t-shirts, only 1 pair of pants, 2 pairs of underwear, a couple pairs of socks, and that takes care of my clothing. I know for my tech gear, I need to bring this charger and this cable and this, and it all fits in this pouch. All of my lists coincide with these items go into this type of pouch and these items go into this type of pouch. Once you have those items and you can create a packing list, it makes packing not only a lot quicker and more efficient, but it also keeps you from bringing those unwanted and unnecessary items that you might find yourself putting in your bag last minute. And that brings us to point number 6, which is great for maximizing space, and that is if you haven't already, you need to invest in packing cubes. Specifically, my opinion would be compression packing cubes because those are going to allow you that if you do need to bring extra clothes or if you're just bringing clothes in general, maybe you're bringing a smaller bag than what you normally would, those compression packing cubes will take those clothes and shrink them down enough to make it worthwhile. The ones that I always suggest to people and the ones that I pretty much use all the time, which is why I don't make a lot of videos about packing cubes, are the Peak Design packing cubes. Those two are the perfect size. The small one is great if you're just doing overnight travel for any occasion. It's also great if you want to separate your delicates from your non-delicates. Both those packing cubes together or separately are great. For the big one's great for like 3 days and on, and the small one is great for like overnight and attachment. They're probably two of my favorite. They're like the only 2 packing cubes I use because they're just that good. That's why I pretty much only solely and strictly use them, and they help you a bunch on maximizing space. They also help you stay organized, which is a bonus on that as well. And that brings me to my favorite and final point, and this one is definitely a personal opinion that I think not a lot of people are putting on their list. But if you want to bring less and you want to pack less, then when it comes time to buy that one bag travel bag and those accessories and you're looking up reviews, aim to get a bag that is going to force you to take less. What I mean by that is a lot of travel bags are 40 liters. And yes, 40 liters is a great size and they are carry-on approved and you can take them on the bag. But you really want to bring less, you really want to bring a lighter load, get a 32 liter bag. If you want to be daring, get a 28 liter bag. A majority of my one bag travel now is done with that 28 or 32 liter. I very rarely, unless I'm testing one that is that size, I don't really use a 40 liter because then I'll bring a bunch of extra stuff or bring a bag that's too big for what I need. There are ways to get around that. Even if I'm bringing a 28 or 32 liter bag, I will still bring a packable day bag if I need one, or a sling if I need one. I will accommodate and make that bag fit that extra thing that I need by taking out less. But as long as I am forced, and as long as you are forced to take less, then you will inevitably bring less on your trip. So instead of splurging and getting that 40 liter bag, if you truly want to take less, then get a bag that forces you to do that. That is one of my favorite tips. That's one of the best things I tell people. If you want to break into this one bag travel, this minimal travel lifestyle, which I think makes things so much easier for a variety of reasons. I think just bringing less in general, not having to stress, like I said, about those extra fees, about getting on and off the plane, about walking around with it. I don't know, I feel like it just lifts this stress of having to worry. If you have a packing list and you know you have everything you need, and your bag is packed the night before, and you just grab it on the way to the airport and you head out, you know that everything is there. It's great. And one of the things that I want to make is a video on about how I kind of pack out my minimal bags, because it's nice to have things and items in a certain place that gives you kind of that quicker access that you need when you're on the go. The whole point of one bag travel is easier, more efficient, more effective. That's what I would call it as. It's also like midnight when I'm filming this. My mouth is very dry, and I should probably go to bed because I have to work tomorrow. So with that is 7 starter beginner tips to traveling with less. I definitely would love to do more. I have a book of tips when it comes to this kind of stuff that I think just makes it a lot more fun and makes it a lot more easier. So these are tips that help you, or you think about trying, or if you like them, or if you have tips of your own, put them in the comments below. I would love to see those and hear from you. If you guys could, don't forget to like, subscribe, all of that good nonsense. Thank you again for all your love and support. Absolutely means the world to me. If you have it's the new outro. It's that. So we'll see you next time.